You're listening to The Grapevine. My name is Sunny Lisiwe Owetundabeni, aka Mama Gastering, aka Mama Action, aka The Black Current.
Hi, nguzodidizwa Witano, Mama Gazenande, former journalist, now turned media specialist, and unfortunately, I can't be smashed because I'm grand.
Okay, let's do this. Are you ready, my girl?
I'm ready.
Alright.
Ready, you know I'm ready to love you forever.
Oh, well.
Hey, come and love me forevermore. Oh, you boys have my age on flash.
No, Tony Braxton.
Stop it.
Okay.
Let's be serious
Hi
for a
guys.
minute.
Hope you guys are well. How you doing? Bayente.
I'm that wind.
Yeah, Eva, when was a kazi? When was a kind
Mama action
Mama
turned
action
windy.
turned windy. You have to drop some hot coffee because then I don't drink tea. What is it? Tea? Please now.
Anyway.
Friend, I want us to talk about this and it's quite a very, very vital topic because it speaks to how soon you can introduce your partner, to your child. And the reason being is that I know a lot of people are watching currently, The Real Housewives of Durban. And,
Okay, Nonko Williams introducing
RT, as she calls him.
Rough Diamond.
Rough
Did it
Diamond.
not sound wrong when the mothers referred to the guy as Arti?
Exactly.
I'm like, imagine my mom referring to my partner as a rough diamond.
And my mom would be like, and then go to rough. You don't know. But it brought a very interesting topic, and I loved how people reacted. How soon you can introduce your partner to your kids. That whole segment was a bit tense because there he comes into Nonku's house, with the family and whatever, with his daughter, and they've only been dating for like a couple of weeks or couple of months, but it's still in the infancy stages.
Yeah, she said it was a couple of weeks when asked.
Yeah. So how soon is it, or where do you draw the line between, how soon it is to introduce your child to your partner? I mean, I've dated since, I've had my kid. It's been 3 years now. I've been in and out, talking stages that didn't elevate beyond a talking stage, and I've always found myself personally never ready to introduce someone to my child. The only thing that I've ever done is, and I continue to do so, is to let the person who shows interest to know that, listen, I'm a parent.
Yeah,
That's about it. First things first, please note that you're going to be a secondary citizen in this democracy.
Because there's a primary
There's a primary citizen that requires my attention more than anything else. But now I'm finding myself navigating this thing of, I am in a relationship, but I'm unsure. Yes, the person speaks long term, but I can't trust that.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people will be like, no, I'm in it for the long run, ride or die, yeah, whatever. Why we're writing and dying, but it's fine. And then I find that there's certain things now, because the honeymoon phase has come to an end, there's certain attributes or certain things that I don't like that I'm starting to pick up now that are showing.
True.
And I'm like, thank God I didn't agree to that play date, So I'm very apprehensive, do I introduce that marriage? And even then it's going to be awkward because now it's going to be,
too late.
Here's your father,
Too late.
Here's your stepfather type of vibe.
I get what you're saying. Where is it the right time, or what qualities would you have ticked off on your list to say you are worthy of meeting my offspring? I also think that in a relationship, there's the talking phase, and then there's that time where we start to show who our true characters are. So once there's the talking stage, you go into that, is it lovey puppy love phase, which can last another 3 months or so. And then there'll be I'm showing that my true colors, who I am, twos. I always refer to I said to my friend that it's at a point where we are starting to show each other the badness in us, the angry person in me, the nasty, the spiteful, the manipulative person is starting to show. And now it takes time for you as the people who are in the relationship first to navigate that.
Yeah.
And try to find a compromise on how your relationship is going to go moving forward, taking in those flaws that you don't like. And now, if you want to add another layer of introduce to my child, how are you introducing your child to someone, first of all, that you don't know? Yourself. How? Because our children are our safe space, they are our treasures. It's like our gold. Now you're going to introduce this pirate to your gold. How sure are you that he's not going to take the treasure? You know what I mean? You don't know how the relationship will be post meeting the child. But I also advocate for the fact that I'm at a stage where my daughter is 8, turning 8. I'm turning 31. I don't want to be alone. I've never introduced her to anyone in the past. However, she needs to know that I am dating. I am meeting people. I am making friends. And I think the key word in all this is saying making friends. So that whatever she sees, she hears, which is maybe intentional on my part or unintentional, because mistakes do happen. There does happen slip ups where your phone rings and you're in a space where she's there. You know what I mean? And obviously you call each other by pet names. Children are smart. They latch onto those things and they see who's mommy talking to most of the time. So obviously you just create the space where I have a friend,
Yeah.
and that friend is, you might not introduce the friend by name or whatever, and come a time when you're doing the actual introduction, don't introduce the partner as this is your new father, or this is mommy's new love, this is my friend uncle so and so, and uncle so and so, it might be just going to the shop with uncle so and so, all three of you guys, just for a short stint to see how the interaction is between the
Like
two
to
of them,
gauge it.
to gauge whether is she ready, is she not ready, is he ready,
Yeah.
can he, because we raise our children differently as well. So the other person might think of your child as a spoiled brat, for example.
Yep.
Which is a fear of mine, because my child, I do the best that I can. So the other person's parenting style might not be the same as mine. So
Yeah.
how is he going to relate to my child if she has a fit, throws a fit or tantrum wanting this and whatever? Because I can handle it, but what is he going to view it as?
My main concern is my child is at a point where he's starting to notice that he doesn't have a father. And I'm very scared to introduce someone above and beyond, the godfather, that will cause that level of confusion. Because my child has a very good relationship with his godfather, make no
Yeah.
mistake. They video call each other now. And I was shook to the core. I was like, oh, that I am, guys. Like, you just blatantly don't respect me. But they have such a good relationship, and he gets it. Like, it's to the point where he doesn't want to go for a haircut without the godfather present. The godfather must be the one that takes him, or cuts his hair, one of the two. Now, my biggest thing is he's starting to understand the dynamics that, okay, in my house, it's females only. I'm the only boy child, We've got a tenant that has a boyfriend that comes frequently, and she just introduced, her child is in primary school. So she introduced her boyfriend of 3 years to the child only now, and the child, obviously there's a lot of context behind this, but essentially, now she's gotten to the point where she calls him dad, and that is my biggest fear. What if my child then calls you dad, and then chiki chiki heavy, it's over?
I think
Because sometimes you get
that's
Lord of
where-
the Rings.
That's why I say it's very important to introduce the person as friend,
Yes.
uncle so and so, because I mean our kids go to, we're very modern and Western, so calling someone uncle so and so, it's not necessarily saying you're a relative or whatever, it's just a form of respect. So I think I would take it, or I choose to take it on that once I do it, where I'll introduce that person as uncle so and so. We will have our drives or whatever. She might get used to uncle so and so and have their own relationship, but it's not going to be something that happens within 6 months. It might not be something that happens within a year as well. I don't know when. It'll also be determined about by the pace of our relationship,
Yeah.
and also how solid we are becoming, because at the end of the day, I also don't want to wait so long and invest myself into that relationship only for it to flop out because my child is my priority. So I don't want to wait long to a point where I've fallen in everything, like we are solid in the relationship, but my child is lagging behind.
Yeah.
Because the progress of the relationship is also going to be determined by the relationship that they build together. So, like 3 years for me is a long time, honestly, because I mean, if I'm dating you for 3 years, nigga, in the committed, I've invested, you know, and how do I have this separate life of investing myself for 3 years with this person and having my child who doesn't know this life that I have?
Yeah, but I'm also finding that a lot of people, a lot of single parents, men and women, are actually just doing the introduction. And when I say doing the introduction, I'm talking post talking stage type of vibes, where it's at that ghetto part of the relationship, you
To me,
know,
it's too soon.
where you're introducing your child. We're not saying there's a timeline.
No, for me, it's too soon because what if the red flags start to show and then you find yourself that I don't really want to be in this? You know what I mean? Like, we expose, I mean, after that honeymoon phase, we expose the ugliness of ourselves. I mean, it can take even a year for someone to show their true colors. That being said, but we show the ugliness, and how do you know that? Because remember, children latch onto relationships much harder than we do.
Yeah.
You know, so when you introduce someone in their lives, you also want to build consistency and routine, and it's also a pattern. So if you introduce this one this week, and then after 3 months or 6 months,
There's
you're
another
introducing
one.
someone else, that is a pattern that you're also mimicking to your child. That it's okay to, while you do
Chop and
want to,
change.
while you do want to make them know that it's okay to go
Leave
when
a
it's
toxic
when it,
environment.
yes, but you also don't want to give this thing of mabachinja change.
Nah, I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm very fearful, and I personally, I don't know when I'll ever do it, if I'll ever do it, simply because the sustainability of my relationships at this current juncture have never been long enough for me to get to that point. If that makes sense. So it's always at a point where I see the red flags and I eject myself safely, and I'm like, thank God. Every single time, the first thing that comes to my mind is, thank God I never introduced my child to this person.
But I also think that it's one of the things, like dating as a single parent is also a thing that for me it took time to actually do, because you think about the relationship that you're coming out from, and you know, it's been maybe 10 years, 5 years, or
Yeah.
whatever, there's a child, and the child is already used to having her biological father around. Sometimes the child has never been around their biological father, but it's always been you and the child. Now, you need to move away because children can also be jealous.
Fam,
Children are also very jealous. So now, how are you going to not detach yourself, but expand yourself and stretch yourself into being in a
let me
relationship with
tell you
someone
something
else? Because
about
there's a guilt that goes
jealousy.
along with it. For me, there was a guilt of, how do I say in the like Zeni, I'm going to a friend Nzabuya Ngomso. That the first night of sleeping out, not sleeping with your child and visiting your man's, it's terrible.
My
It's like
child
the
is a
hardest thing
very
ever.
territorial person, I've realized. I can have, my child knows my boss's voice because my boss happens to be a male. He knows his godfather's voice, right? Anybody else outside of those two voices, my child will hang up, okay? My child will throw a tantrum in the car if like somebody calls me while I'm driving. Like he will pull all these stunts and I'm just like, how do you know that I'm speaking to another man? Like how do you, like literally one of my friends was like laughing and saying that yo unziga like we are cock blocker basically because like it's like he can sense but you're gonna take my mother away from me. Bah! You know, it's gotten to the point where I swear to God, I actually thought at one stage, I think my child knows how to read names. And he probably identifies this name as a constant. If this person is not popping up as a text message, this person is popping up as a phone call, my child rejects. Like a PA, like he just redirects calls. And he'll only answer my boss's phone calls and his godfather. That's why I'm like, I feel like he probably knows. And that's my thing. Like, my child is a very territorial, even like with his friends and stuff. Like, even when I fetch him from school, there's like certain kids that he'll allow to engage. Then the others is like, no, it's my mom. And now it's filtered to his friends as well, because his little grouping will be like, look, we first get first rights to Nsika's mom and the high fives and the hugs and the playtimes and the pickups. Then you secondary citizens can come forward. And I'm like, now if this is how my child is, and also I've also felt very guilty when I've left him. Like the first time I went to sleep out, my child was 1. It took me a year in order for me to decide that, okay, I need a break. I need to just go out. And I went out. Let me tell you, my dumb ass, what I did. I left during the day on the Friday, right? I came back Friday night, right? Slept with my child. He brushed my face and whatever, woke up, did the whole breakfast routine and whatever. Then I left again. I missed him at like 4 p.m. ish. Then I was like, no, let me just get over it. In fact, I was like, let me drink more. Maybe if I drink more, I'm not going to miss him. I sweetie, the alcohol was like, in fact, emotions and
It's
us,
like alcohol
we are
go
in the
together.
same WhatsApp group now. You are going to feel it. I was talking about my child at Groove. There I am at Cubana talking about my son. Oh, my son, this, my son. And I'm like, no, like parenting has consumed me to such a way that I don't even know how to switch off, which is the same thing with work. I never know for me personally, and that's the one thing I'm going through now, is when to switch off. Like, where do you draw the line between, you see a notification that is work-based. It's got nothing to do with you, but you're still interacting.
I'm exactly the
It's the
same.
same thing now with my parenting, where it's like I am going out to do something to allow myself to breathe without having to say no 50 times. Yet I will call and check on. I went to Joburg literally overnight. My child literally spoke to me, gave me all the tea like he usually does, said his goodbyes, and I was like, homie, I'm not even done speaking. Like you just like
That's
for
how
him,
children
he's
are.
like,
Children are
okay, well,
that
just
way.
see, there's the tea, guess on the bye. Do what you want, what you gotta
I
do.
have
You
that.
know?
I used to have that thing where when I go out, and I think it's different when you're going out for groove and when you're going out to be with another person, because you'll have the dinner, you'll be fine, you'll talk and you'll be distracted, but once you get to the man's home and you are at a peace or just a calm, you start thinking about shit. Has my child done this? And I'm a person who prepares. Like I will prepare food, uniform, everything the night before, everything. Like I'll make sure the child is sorted and is in good care and it's okay. But she's also got developed a thing now where she wants a fight. She wants to pick a fight before I leave. Like she's gotten into a hang of picking up a fight between me and her before I leave. And I noticed that it's becoming a trend now. So what I did is I sat her down. She's at a level where she understands. She's aged, so she's developed. I'm like, listen, mommy is going out. I'm with you Monday to Friday, right? Yes. I go to work. I come back at a certain time. We sit together. We do this. And you sometimes leave me and go sit with your aunts and whatever. And I still wait on you, right? Yes, mommy. So now, mommy needs to have time for herself, right? Like you have time with your friends at school. I don't have friends at work. My friends are outside of work. So I also need to have time with my friends. Is that fair? Yes, mommy. Now, when I leave and you want to fight or you start crying, you make me not have a good day. Like, I never look forward to what I'm going to. Therefore, when I get to my friends, I want to cry. I feel sad because you've left me feeling sad. Is that nice? No, mommy. So imagine if I made you feel that way. How would you feel if you go into your friends and we had a fight and I left you crying? Not nice, mommy. So can we try and get to a point where you and I be with you Monday to Friday, and on certain day I'll be out and have time for me and my friends. Is that fair? Yes, mommy. Now she understood. And we're able, now she'll be like, when are you going? Aren't you going to see your friend? Aren't you going out with your friends? Auntie Nomi, are you not going? But she's comfortable with it because we had that conversation. And it wasn't about me prioritizing dating or a man or a friend, but I'm setting a foundation that she understands that I have a life apart from her. There are certain things that I need to do for my own sanity and my own debrief that are not necessarily about her. So I think we need to train our kids as well, as to, as much as we have the mommy guilt, as much as we because you don't want to be alone. I don't want to be alone.
No.
I want to be happy. I want to be in a fun space. But we need to find a balance in training our kids at a young age to understand that we need me time, we need adult time. We're going to have friends who are men, who are all of the opposite gender. It's okay
Yeah.
because Zenande has a best friend who's a boy. So I make it, I literally like cultivated that relationship so that she has that male bestie because in life she's going to need that. And it's working out well. So she needs to understand that mommy also needs a male bestie.
Yeah. So for me, it shocks me every time when I leave my son and he's like, bye, mama. And I'm like, ay, boo, emotions. Here comes the guilty. And I'm like feeling some type of way. And even now when I come to the studio, he literally, like, he walks to the garage. I pull out. He does the waving thing like dub. And he will wave and until the door closes. And even when the door closes, and I was like chunking in the car because he does what my grandmother used to do. And he's never met my grandmother because he was born after she had passed away. And he does this waving thing that my grandmother used to do when he used to leave. My grandmother would escort you to the garage and watch you leave. And now he does the exact same thing. And he'll say bye and whatever, whatever. Doesn't cry, doesn't throw tantrums, doesn't do whatever. My mom says his new thing is that he'll ask, where's my mommy? And then my mom would be like, your mommy's gone to work. And then he'd be like, okay, fine. But like he gets that, And now I think the biggest thing is going to be, so in a couple of weeks, I'm emceeing at a birthday. He's going to go to a traditional family function with my mom. So we are going separate, And it's going to be quite interesting to see. But like literally my son has gotten to the point whereby he understands when I leave and he gets it. But for me, I'm still a bit attached to that departure. And also because I overthink things. I'm an overthinker.
Yeah.
I think, what if this poor child thinks that I'm neglecting him?
Exactly.
Those are the kind of things.
Takeaway. I think that's a key takeaway from this conversation is the fact that it's okay to check out that exact thing you're talking about how do you feel and overthinking things. Sometimes you need to put yourself first. You are never going to be a good mom if you're not a good sanelisiwe. You'll never be a good anything to anyone if you're not good on your own. And so you need to take that. Are you happy on your own?
Hell no.
Exactly. So if you're not happy already, that means there's
Hell to
something
the no,
missing. You know
no.
what I mean? So I think to our one of the tools that we're trying to get across is that it's okay to date. Just manage your time well.
Yeah.
Don't let prioritize one thing over another. Try to find a
Yes.
balance. And take time to read and understand the relationship you are in before you make that big decision of introducing your partner to your child. Even throw in scenarios. You know what I've done now is talk about my child and her developments with the partner to see or gauge how his response is going to be. Because I'm the one who's more, when the person talks about his child or whatever, I get excited because that's the type of person I am. So he can already see that I'll be the kind of person I'll be in a relationship once I've met the kids. But I also know what type of person he will be when he meets my child. So involving him in things that are not directly related, but in situations where my child did this today, Zenani and I were doing this, just to gauge his response. Because you don't want to find someone who's not going to care or not going to want to have an input, because this is someone you're potentially going to partner with and may take on the fatherly role. So how is he going to navigate his way in the relationship? So I think it's just having those conversations. It's very important. And Wena, get over your mommy guilt.
I think I need to do that. I think, my word for 2023 is actually to be intentional. I think I need to be intentional on the things that I forecast and I want to be involved in and to participate in. I need to be intentional in taking that decision, and also just to be gentle to myself as well and remind myself that I am not neglecting my child, by taking a couple of hours to myself, because I will always return home. I don't care, guys. Now I can be wasted to the core. Now I want to sleep in my bed. Everybody knows this. I will go and sleep in my bed. I don't have time to be a street kid of a mother. No. Now I go home to my child, because it's just one of those things. My child is even a security guard. Like, he'll wait. We went to Kirsten Bosch. I got home. The first voice I heard
At that time.
at the door, Mama, I picked him up. He slept. He can't sleep without me when I leave late, like when I put him to bed. But he just made that decision. But I'm gonna wait for this girl. I know she's coming. It's Monday, tomorrow, Sunday. We got work. We got things to do. But I think the one takeaway I can say is, for new moms, like moms with teenagers, it's okay. The guilt, don't let the guilt overwhelm you to such an extent that you then become that person, that is miserable at home. It's okay to allow yourself to go and to be free and to breathe, and just to have that little bit of time to yourself. Because what I found is that the more time I spend by myself, even outside of the office, don't count work as me time. That doesn't count. The little time that you spend by yourself, it honestly does you greater good. Which is why now I'm going to tell this, and I'll say this with my chest: take leave when your child is at school. Because that's another thing that I've started to do. I go on solo dates without a man, and I take leave when my child, is at school, so that at least that 8 hours or however long the school day is, I have a little bit of that time to myself where I do whatever the hell I want to do without even thinking that I'm a mom for that segment.
Last thing quickly, age appropriateness. Let's be mindful in conversations when we introduce or we decide to introduce, make it age appropriate. Don't tell a 4-year-old, this is your new dad. You know what I mean? This is my boyfriend. Try to find a way of introducing your partner to a child, but based on their age and their development at that time. Because you will tell a 16-year-old, you can tell a 16-year-old, this is my partner, this is my boyfriend, or whatever. But an 8-year-old or a 5-year-old or a 7-year-old will never understand the same way. So it needs to be age appropriate, and development-wise also be the emotional development of your child and maturity. Keep that into mind. So there's a lot of dynamics you have to look at and gauge through. But I think it's important that you think about those things before you think about introducing your partner.
All right.
Clearly, this was a good one.
Mic drop. Boom.
Oh, yeah.
Guys, don't forget to like, subscribe, share, do the things you gotta do.
And engage and tell us what
and
you've
tell
done.
us and
How you've done it.
How you've done it, because I want to hear from the teen parents. The teen parents are the ones that have gone through it and they've reached that pivotal
Tough
point.
situation.
The teenagers, parents, leave the teenagers, the actual teens, the 13, 15, that age grouping. I want to hear from them, because they're the ones that genuinely drop the best gems.
Yeah.
When it comes to this
Money experience.
Yes, money PhD
So
in life.
brilliant, guys. Text. Sorry, not text. Type up your comment.
Yes, text are technically speaking, but it's fun. Let's not get technical.
Type your comment up, or your comment section, and let us know. And maybe other challenges that you might be facing, that you'd like us to maybe discuss.
All right, bye.
Love and light.